Hello everyone, I'm NatoHJ, and today I will be running through the best and easiest tips to follow for ultimate realism in your Minecraft city. Now I know this type of video has been done lots before, but I will go through some of the vital things that no one else has picked up on, so make sure to watch to the end so you don't miss any. The first one is unbelievably important, and most people seem to forget it, and it annoys me when I see it. Do not make your roads too steep. If you do, then it has so many problems that comes with it. First of all, it is very impractical for vehicles, and even more annoying to build buildings next to. This is a major hindrance. Secondly, when constructing a city, the developers will pick a site which is flat and raised up, so having steep terrain would be unrealistic to start with. I mean, there are some exceptions, however, but they build their roads very differently. So overall, I would stick to a ratio of 1 block up for every 8 blocks forward on your road at an absolute maximum, and for larger roads such as highways, make this a 1:20 ratio. Just before I carry on, please remember to like if you are enjoying, and subscribe if you find this helpful, because it genuinely means a lot, so thank you. On to the next point. Building too small or sometimes too big really makes your city lose its impressiveness. Any inconsistency on the scale just isn't realistic, as you'll never find this in real life. Saying this, there are people who build mini cities and oversized cities, and they are amazing. But my point is that when you unintentionally create some buildings differently sized to others, it can look odd and out of place. The best and only way to overcome this common mistake is to create a scale before building. Personally, and I believe this is what 90% of people use, ceilings are between 4 to 5 blocks high, depending on the room type, and there should be 2 blocks between floors. This can be translated as a 1 to 1.5 ratio. It allows room for interior and means that your ceiling and floor can be different materials. To make sure I implement this, I build a column of coloured wool before building. Grey means the ceiling height and green means the floor. For roads, I use 6 blocks per lane, but anywhere from 5 to 6 is good. Again, this can depend on what type of road it is, whether it is a narrow road or a modern highway. These scales should help you build everything the same size throughout your city, and make it look neat and consistent. What style you build in determines most things that you will construct in your city, so make sure to have a consistent one. Choose this before starting, and make sure you know the style back to front. You need to know what things you will commonly find. For example, a Canadian city will have lots of point towers, and a British style will have lots of Victorian terraced housing. You also must know what you won't find, such as grids in a European city, obviously apart from Barcelona. I would suggest writing this all down so you don't forget it. The best way of finding these things is following my number 1 piece of advice: use Google Earth. Doing all of these things will mean that your city is very realistic and consistent. Remember to use the same road markings and signs throughout your city too. Sustainability is a huge factor in modern growing cities. It helps slow climate change, so to reach realism in your Minecraft city, you must consider this. Even on older buildings, newer technology is being added to reduce emissions. This is why solar panels are really important in your city. Use daylight sensors for these, as in default textures they look fairly similar, and in CubePack they are textured just like the real ones. Solar panels are actually called photovoltaic panels, so use this terminology to impress your friends. But you cannot just place these anywhere. For example, if you were to place them behind a skyscraper where they would get no light, this is a waste of money and will not maximise energy production. Therefore, using F3 on Java or looking at the coordinates on bedrock, figure out which way is north. If your city is based in the northern hemisphere, then you'll want all of your PV panels facing north, as this is where the most sunlight will be captured from. The opposite goes for the southern hemisphere, and as previously mentioned, make sure that none of your panels are being blocked by large buildings. My last big tip for a realistic city is to make sure that your buildings actually stand up. This is called structural realism. Now I don't have any qualifications in this area, so visit Alpine 1 after this video for more detailed information, but I can give you an easy guide to achieving this. It all happens in the construction of the building. You need a shear wall, which is a set of often concrete walls that go from the very bottom of the building to the top. This acts as the spine of the building and contains your lifts and staircases. Without this, your building would fall down. Secondly, you will need a structural grid, just like you can see here. This one is probably all wrong, so please correct me in the comments, but generally something like this will work. As said before, I don't know all the specific names for these supports and beam things, but as long as it looks stable, it'll do. Thankfully, physics don't work in Minecraft. And finally, at the intersections of this grid, you want to add vertical columns that will run all the way through the building. This carries a large majority of the stress from above, along with the shear wall. Make sure to have these away from the edges of the building, however, as maximising window space will increase the value of the space, thus creating more money for your city. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this useful, please subscribe and watch one of these videos next. See you all later.